There's no complaining in the box then.
I don't bitch, but I whine. Give me some wine, I'll be good.
Want some cheese for that one?
Yes.
Tonight we're going to be talking about the seven-figure life. Okay, we have Dr. Noah St. John with us. I don't know if you guys had watched the video that I put up for the ad, but
watch it again.
Yeah, this tells a little bit about him. And then when this video is done, he'll be with us and we'll start. But we only have him for an hour tonight. Okay, so, all right, we'll see you in a minute. This week in the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, we welcome Noah St. John, PhD. He is recognized as the Father of Affirmations and the mental health coach to the stars. Working with Hollywood celebrities, 7- and 8-figure company CEOs, professional athletes, top executive and elite entrepreneurs, Noah is famous for helping his coaching clients make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months, while regaining 1 to 3 hours per day and 4 to 8 weeks a year. He's helped his clients generate $2.8 billion over and above what they were earning with greater ease than ever before. For more information on Dr. Noah St. John, please go to www.breakthroughwithnoah.com and www.noahstjohn.com. We welcome you, Noah, and everyone to the Fox Den. Hey, Noah, welcome to the Fox Den.
Hey, Noah.
Hi, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I can't wait to talk to you and talk to everybody.
Right? Now, we're going to be talking about this book here tonight, but also, I mean, I was impressed with how many books you actually have written. This is only a few of them, and
look at that pile in front of him.
Yeah, that stack in front of you, is that all of your books?
No, that's actually an old picture. I've written 5 or 6 more since that picture was taken.
Oh my God. Is that all you sit and write? I mean, are these things divinely channeled?
Yes, they are. Yes. When I discovered affirmations and success anorexia 30 years ago now, I just seemed to become this open channel to God, the universe, divine inspiration, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, these books just kind of come through me, and I just basically sit there and I'm typing and listening and going, okay,
I know, right? Can it slow down a little,
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's honestly, I have a great time. And that book that you mentioned, The 7-Figure Life, is actually part of a 7-figure series now. It's actually 4 books that I have in the 7-figure series: 7-Figure Machine, 7-Figure Life, 7-Figure Expert, and 7-Figure Chiropractor. For you chiropractors out there, we help those too. But anyway, it's a whole series, and we just have a lot of fun.
And you can get that right there, 7figuremachinebook.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Cool.
That's absolutely, yes.
Cool beans. So, all right, I was like looking at, I seen a private chat thing already.
That's just me poking I'm putting my links into the private chat so I can just copy and paste them into the chat.
What's going on? Okay. But I was reading, it's funny. I have to just say a little tidbit of this before I start asking you questions about this. In the book, I was reading it Monday night whilst watching football.
Mm-hmm.
You make football references in here.
I do.
And it was the team I was watching. I was just like, oh my God.
How does he do it?
How does he do it?
How did you know?
How did you know? But it was so funny. I was like, and I stopped. I actually stopped, told my boyfriend, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, listen to this. So I had to read the whole thing.
Love it.
Oh God. So I mean, first of all, a little background on you.
Yep.
All right. You were a ballet dancer.
Yes, professional ballet dancer. Yes. Not belly dancer, ballet. Just make sure we got that right.
I was a belly dancer.
Yes, I get some people, they tease me a little. So you were a belly dancer? No. Ballet. B-A-L-L-E-T. So I'm Gina and Mama D. I'm the only person in this industry, the only executive coach and keynote speaker who used to make a living lifting ballerinas. I'm the only one that can claim that. So yes, that's me.
I know.
I'm just like, how does these two things, one of these things is not like the other.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. So what made you go from ballet doing that to doing this?
Yep. Well, it's so funny because I do get that question a lot, and it is a lot of fun. Let's see. I always loved writing. All right. I always loved words. One of my very earliest memories is being in kindergarten. And when we were in kindergarten, growing up in Maine, we used to have these little blocks of letters, to teach us the ABCs, right? I don't know if kids do that anymore, but that's what we did back in the day. And so I just remember one of my earliest memories is putting these blocks of letters together and spelling out these big words. I always loved words and the English language and reading. And I was actually reading before the age of 2. You can ask my mother, she's a teacher. And so, I grew up in a very literate household. And so I just always loved books. I was surrounded by books. I grew up in the library, and so I just always loved writing. Now, here's where it gets interesting because I also had trouble walking. I had my hips were like double jointed like this, so I couldn't walk. And so I had to wear these leg braces like Forrest Gump, if you remember that movie. So I wore leg braces like that. And when I was a kid, my pediatrician said to my parents that I should take dance lessons to strengthen my legs, because I couldn't walk very well. So I started taking tap dance lessons when I was 7 years old. And I had a wonderful dance teacher. His name's John Mealy. He's still the artistic director of the Maine State Ballet. Wonderful man. Anyway, and so I started doing that when I was 7 years old. So I had these two things going, writing and dancing. Well, as it turns out, my dance teacher, John, he said to me from the time I was 7 that I should take ballet. Now, I started with tap, and he said, you need to take ballet because that will really strengthen your legs. I said, you're not getting me in tights, dude. That's not happening. Right? I'm like, no, not happening. So, but then finally, when I was turned 15, I finally relented, and I went into my first ballet class, and it was me and 30 girls. And I said, why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't I do this before?
Why didn't you tell? This is what we call a target-rich environment.
There you go.
Even a nerd like me can do well in these odds, right? The odds are in my favor. I'm like, this is great, man. So
especially if you don't drop them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they'd be like me then.
So then I was hooked, and I'm like, yeah, this works really well. It worked great. Being the only guy and 30 girls, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Yep. So so then I became a professional at the age of 18, and then I had a career-ending injury at the age of 22. So it was a very short career. My body was not built for a ballet, which most human bodies are not. And so then I was literally out on the street, and I had no money, no education. It doesn't pay well to be a ballet dancer, let me tell you. So I didn't know what to do with the rest of my life. And I finally I had a lot of things happen. And actually at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide because I was so depressed. I'd lost my career. I'd lost everything. I didn't know what to do with it. So I said, I think I'm just going to end my life. And at the very last moment,
more people have been at that point.
Yeah. I do share that story in my, some of my books and my seminars and my coaching. But anyway, at the very last moment, my life was spared, but I didn't know why. And I realized I don't know why I'm on this earth. I don't know what my purpose is. Why am I here? These questions that we ask ourselves, right? But I didn't know. And so, and I didn't know how to answer the question. It's one thing to have a question, but it's not even know how to answer it. So I went back to the library, started reading every book in the spiritual section. And then in 1997, that's when I had these epiphanies. And I realized what I'd spent all those years reading, all those self-help books, all those spiritual books, I realized exactly what was missing that no one was talking about. And that's when I wrote my very first book, which was called Permission to Succeed. You showed that earlier there. There it is right there. Published by the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. And now 25 books later, yep, there it is. And now 25 books later, books are in 18 languages. And yes, as you mentioned, we
congratulations.
Thank you. Nice. We helped our clients at over $3 billion now. So it's really been quite a journey.
Okay, so Gina and I need to really get into this.
Well, it was really fascinating. It was a really good read. And you do mention, like even throughout, but more towards the end, mentioning some of your other books that would help along this, this path. I mean, a lot of this stuff in here, it's kind of like it's common sense stuff, right? That we don't think of, unless it's thrown in our face, to do. And we're like, oh yeah, well, yeah, maybe I should really think about that. Maybe I should really implement some of these things. And then it was kind of even like AA-esque, where you have like with gratitude and with amends and mental, spiritual, physical, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yep. And I love that. I do. I think the principles of that should be taught in school as children, just because they're great principles. You know what I mean? Not that everyone has an addiction. Well, I have a big addiction to foxes. All right. I admit it.
Yes, that's
one.
That's a good one.
I'll just count the foxes in her house.
But I mean, it's like it's there's a lot of things that's incorporated. So you really, really thought about all of these things.
Yep. And I've taught them to, my one-on-one clients, my group coaching clients. As a keynote speaker, I get to speak to, audiences all around the country and around the world, live and virtually. So yeah, I mean, these are time-tested, proven principles and strategies that have helped my clients make a lot of money. But even more importantly than the money is winning their lives back. You mentioned that in your introduction. And yes, I mean, so there's a lot of what I call the hustle bros out there, and hey, if you want to make more money, just work your face off and work 18, 20 hours a day. Don't sleep, don't take any breaks, don't see your family, don't have a life. And I'm like, dude,
why?
What? Are you nuts? I mean, that's idiotic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hard work or, focus or things like that. I mean, those are perfectly fine. But if your entire strategy is, I'm just going to work my face off and never stop, that's just not sustainable. And frankly, that's not a system. So you're right. That's exactly what I teach in my books and my coaching is, a system and frameworks that enable you to get your life back, literally make more money and work less. So you are making more while working less, which is, of course, the dream of every entrepreneur, right? So, but there really are frameworks that you need to put in place to do that.
Yeah, I could have used you when I was in business. I really could have, because I mean, I had my own business like majority of my whole life, and I did work myself to death. My body is toast now. Like you had your debilitating injury for ballet.
Right.
I really just
well, these are hard fought lessons, Gina. I mean, this is like, I wish that I would have had these secrets. I mean, I wrote all these books that you see, but I wrote all these for me, because I paid all these gurus hundreds of thousands of dollars only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. I paid them all this money and I found out there's no there. It's like, thanks a lot. It's a bunch of air. And I'm like, so I literally had to just learn these. But I mean, man, it really would have been. I mean, I always say to my clients, I say, look, if I would have had these secrets when I started out, I'd be a gazillionaire by now. I'm doing well. Don't get me wrong, I'm doing fine. But geez, it would have been nice to have these a long, long time ago. So
really would have.
My pain is your gain.
Yeah, and it is too, and it's like because it is more a lot of common sense things, a lot of things to look out for. And I love some of the wording, like the energy vampires and things like that, because they really do drain you. But let me ask you this: all right, why is it that like all these like the football players and such, you know what I mean? They got all these millions of dollars, and then they go broke. Same thing with like a lottery winner.
Sure. Yeah, it's actually very simple and stunningly. What my clients tell me is once they read my books and they take my coaching, they start to see it everywhere. But until I show it to you, it's like you're walking around with glasses and you don't really see what's the reality there. So to your point, and it's a very, very crucial point, right? This is something that I've been teaching for 30 years now. And it really is a very simple Venn diagram. Now, I'm known as the nerdiest nerd in the industry, right? I'm like the Sheldon Cooper of self-help.
There we go.
And one of the things we nerds love is Venn diagrams, right? We love the circles and the Venn diagrams because, that really, you can make a Venn diagram for anything, really, right? So, but this is my very favorite Venn diagram. It's very simple. It's just two circles, right? And you have one circle here that's called your inner game and one circle here that's called the outer game. And when you put those two things together, your inner game and your outer game, that's where you have the phenomenon called success, where those two things meet. Now, What does that mean? So what is your inner game? Well, your inner game is everything that happens between your ears that you can't see directly, but it affects everything that you do. For example, as a keynote speaker, like I'm going to be speaking at a big, huge event in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. And one of the things I'll ask my audience members is, what is one area of your life where your beliefs don't affect you? And here's what happens. People go like this. They go, and I go, exactly. There's no place that will affect you, right? There's no place, right? Your beliefs affect your health, right? Your well-being, your stress level. Your beliefs affect your money, your finances, your business, your career, whether you get that promotion or not, and everything else. Your relationships, right? Your personal life, your private life, your intimate, right? Your family, your social, and so forth. So there's no place your beliefs don't affect you. But here's the funny thing: you can't see a belief. You can only see the effects of a belief, right? And so what's fascinating is you can be doing really well in one area, but maybe you're stuck or struggling in another. For example, maybe your health is really good, but you're not making the money you want, or vice versa. Maybe you're making great money, but your health is suffering, right? Like we talked about. And so that's your inner game. And then you also have your outer game, right? So you have your outer game, and that's everything you can see directly, right? That's all the things we're taught, all the marketing gurus talk about this, the offers, funnels, traffic, all the stuff you got to do. So what's fascinating is it's only when you put inner game and outer game together that you have success. So let me give you a perfect example of this. I was speaking at a seminar in Los Angeles for 1,000 entrepreneurs, right? These are 7, 8-figure, CEOs, C-suite people like that, a very successful group, right? And so I spoke for about 30 minutes. I was walking off the stage, and a man came up to me out of the audience. And he practically grabbed me by the lapels, right? And he kind of shook me and he said, Noah, you are the coach that I've been looking for. I want to hire you as my coach. Now, I didn't know this man from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. True story. And so I said, okay, what's going on? He goes, well, Noah, we have this company. I own this company, and we are at 7 figures. And I said, okay, well, that sounds fine. What's the problem? He goes, no, you don't understand. We've been at 7 figures for the past 4 years, and we've been stuck at that same level, and we can't break through that income ceiling. And he says, I've thrown all this money at the problem. I've hired every marketing guru. He named all the names, right? I spent all this money, but we can't break through that ceiling. And he said, as soon as I heard you speak about inner game and outer game and head trash and everything you just said, he said, I knew that you were the coach I've been looking for. Now, that's why I love working with high achievers, right? Because they make decisions quickly and firmly. They don't dilly-dally. I got to think about it. Yeah, right? They did. So he did. He literally decided to hire me on the spot. So I coached him and his leadership team for 18 months. In that 18 months, we were able to get his company that had been stuck at 7 figures for the previous 4 years to over 20 million in sales in less than 18 months. That's a 600% increase in 18 months. That is unheard of. And how did I do it? Exactly what I'm saying right now, exactly what I'm sharing with you. Because he'd spent all this time on outer game, nothing wrong with that, but no one had taken the time to show him how to actually master his inner game. And it was only when I showed him how to do that, boom, hockey stick growth, 600%, you're welcome.
Right? Because people they have this mental block. It's like, I do it this way and we do this, and you come in and it's a routine every single day. Well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to go here, you got to make this phone call, you got to, talk to this client, you got to talk. I mean, it's just like, yeah, it is. It's tough to break out of that.
That's right. Well, and also,
for a lot of people.
That's right. And also what I teach is very different, right, from what is taught out there. And one of the reasons for that is because I teach what I call the power habits of unconsciously successful people. Now, that sounds like a mouthful, but it's actually very simple. Let me break that down for you. So whenever we humans want to master a new habit, we go through 4 stages of competency. The first stage is unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know, you don't know. The second stage is conscious incompetence. That means you don't know. The third stage is conscious competence, which is you know. And then the final stage is unconscious competence, which is you do without thinking. So like the example I give in my seminars and my keynote presentations is driving a car, right? And I say, how many people here know how to drive a car? Of course, every hand goes up. I said, great. Did you realize that you actually had to go through those 4 stages to learn how to drive a car? And they're like, what do you mean? I say, well, first you didn't know how to drive a car, right? Nobody comes out of the womb and goes, hey, where's my car? Right? That doesn't happen, right? You're like, you don't know. right? Then you get to a certain age and you're like, wait a minute. I want to get away from my parents, and all I have is a bicycle, and I can't get far enough away from my parents on a bicycle. Oh, shoot, I need to drive a car. Oh, man, I don't know how to drive a car. So see, now I know I don't know how to drive a car, right? Then you get to a certain age and you take driver's ed, right? You learn how to drive a car. I don't know about you, but when I learned how to drive a car, it was in Maine, and it was many years ago. And we had this Buick that was about the size of a city block. It was one of those huge, massive things. And I was like, really scary. And, all these million things coming at you at once. So it's really hard at first. But then guess what? Now, of course, most people listening to this program, you literally do this thing without thinking. You are not thinking about this thing that used to be really, really hard. In fact, you're thinking of 27 other things, but you are actually not thinking about that thing that used to be really hard. So that's an example of becoming unconsciously competent. So what I realized many years ago, and this is what I've been teaching my clients, and one of the reasons I help make so much money, is that highly successful people have developed the unconscious habits that they don't even know they're doing, number one. And therefore, number two, they can never teach it to you, right? If you're unconscious at something, a lot of times you don't know you're doing it, number one. Therefore, number two, you can't teach it, right? So that's why a lot of people are spending all this money on all these gurus. And they're like,
nothing's happening.
Right, nothing's happening, right? Well, he's got a Lambo. He's got a helicopter. He's got a jet. And if I give him money, then he'll teach me how to have a Lambo and a jet and a helicopter. I'm like, not really. No, not really. They're and maybe they're great and they're wonderful, but I mean they're unconscious. So they're not telling you anything wrong, but they're also not helping. Right? They're not saying anything helpful. Set your goals. Come on, you can do it. Work hard. Focus. Really? Thanks a lot. I've never thought of that. Wow, you're really helping me, man.
More
no kidding. Look, you didn't say anything wrong, but it's like imagine if you're driving in a car. I like to use a car analogy, right? You read my book. I use a lot of analogies. So imagine you're driving in a car, right? And you're like, all of a sudden you're lost, right? You're like, oh shoot, this is a new place. I don't know where I am. And all of a sudden your phone doesn't work. You're like, oh shoot, I can't get a signal. And so you see someone on the side of the road. You pull over the side of the road. And you say, excuse me, could you tell me where I am? And they go, yeah, you're in a car.
Well,
okay, you didn't say anything wrong, but also you didn't help. All right, so that's what it's kind of like with a lot of those guys out there. So anyway, that's what I mean by the power habits, and that's really why we've helped our clients make a heck of a lot of money and win their lives back at the same time.
So they're basically telling you what to do, but not how to do it.
Well, not only that, they're talking about things that are conscious. Okay, so think about what I like to talk about is the iceberg principle of human behavior. All right, so we humans are about 10%, like an iceberg, right? We're about 10% above the surface. That's your conscious mind, right? That's your conscious habits, your conscious thoughts, right?
All right.
And nothing wrong with that. But just like an iceberg, the vast 90% is in the subconscious.
Yep.
Right? That means you don't know even what you're doing. Like I was talking about before, like those unconscious habits. You don't even know you're doing it. Right? Yeah. And so the point is, and this is what I always say to my clients, I say, it wasn't the part of the iceberg that they could see that sunk the Titanic. It was the part that they didn't see that sunk the Titanic. And that's what sinking most people do. That's that subconscious. And so what I do with the power habit system, the power habits of unconsciously successful people, is I take what's in the subconscious and bring it to the conscious. Because another word for subconscious is no choice. That means if you don't know you're doing it, how can you possibly change it? You can't, because you don't even know. Right? It's that old elephant in the room. You're like, what elephant? I don't see an elephant. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Like the theory, like you can't unsee something, you can't undo something.
That's right. Exactly. I'll give you another great example. I was talking with another one of my clients, and he actually, this is so funny because true story. All right. So this is the book I'm talking about, Power Habits. This is one of them. I don't know if you showed that one before, but anyway, here it is. So PowerHabitsBook.com is this one right here. PowerHabitsBook.com. Easy to remember.
You write that one?
So anyway, my client Charles, he told me the story that he was in Barnes and Noble and he walked by that book 3 times. He just kept walking by it. And he said, something just called out to me about your book, Noah. And I finally had to get it. And he started reading it. He said, I only got halfway through and I had to contact you. So he contacted me on my website at breakthroughwithnoah.com. That's another link you had there. Yep. He contacted me on breakthroughwithnoah.com. And that's where, I do a business evaluation. There you go, breakthroughwithnoah.com. And, we get on the phone for like 15 minutes and it's just like a laser call. And one of the things that I asked him is what I ask all my clients. I said, Charles, so, you read my book, you understand why I'm different. I said, let me just ask you a question. How much do you think it's going to cost you if you don't put these things in place right now? How much do you think it's costing you over the next 12 months if you don't do this?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, without batting an eye, $1 million. He said, Noah, it's easily going to cost me $1 million if I don't put these things in place. That's why I called you.
Right.
I said, okay. And so I said, you know what, Charles? First of all, that's very common. I talk to people every day who say, when I ask them that question, how much is it costing you not to have this? $500,000, million, $2 million a year or more. And remember, that adds up over time. It's not just 1 year; it adds up forever until you fix it, or until you get it in place. So I said that's very common. So don't beat yourself up. Don't feel bad. Number one. Number two, I said, I tell you what. Why don't you just give me 10% of that million, and I will find you $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, well, yeah, that's a good deal. And he said, let's do it. So, like I said, right, I love working with high achievers. Decision quickly and firmly, didn't have to think about it, didn't have to ask his spouse or, dilly-dally. He just said, let's do it. So he literally invested $100K, on the spot for me to coach him for a year. That's what the investment, the tuition for me to coach someone for a year, one-on-one. So I coached him for a year. And as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him 1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1. I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal.
That's a good deal.
That's a great deal. And what's even better? I mean, of course, the money's fantastic and wonderful, right? But what's even better is he sent me an email. He said, Noah, guess where I am right now? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. He said, we just bought a new RV. He said, this is a dream I've had for years, but we never had the money and we never had the time. So now, because of your coaching, I bought this new RV. We're taking 7 weeks off. We're going to travel the country, see the country in our new RV. He said, this is something I've been dreaming about for years. And he said, thank you, Noah, for changing my life. That's how powerful these things are.
That's amazing. That truly is. It's such a good feeling that that you help these people,
Indeed.
What, Mama?
Okay. So I've got to go. You've mentioned, like, we're talking about the 7-Figure Life, Power Habits book, different books. If somebody, wants to start, you almost made you choke. He's like, good thing. Wants to start somewhere, what's the first book that they should pick up?
I mean, this right here, Power Habits, this is my essential reading, okay? Because I'll show you, if I may hold this up. This is the Power Habit system right there. I know it's very small, but it's right there on page 100. Okay, so I walk you through the 11 power habits. These are the unconscious habits. Remember, they're unconscious habits of highly successful people that they can never tell you. So you could interview them all day long. And they're just, they're not going to say anything wrong, but they're going to stay up here at the conscious level. Well, come on, Mama, just work hard, set your goals, think positive. You can do it.
I've been doing that. It's
no kidding. Right, exactly. No duh. Right. I always like to say, no duh. You didn't help me, buddy.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what. So you asked, which one? That just like Charles. I mean, literally, just like Charles. I mean, he walked by 3 times, boom, got it, boom. All right. So that's the power habits. So 7-Figure Life, what we started talking about. And this, I mean, I'm very proud of all my books. I mean, they're all like my kids, right? Like your kids. Yes. What's your favorite book?
I got a lot of dog hair.
I love it so much. That makes me so happy as the author. Kind of so what I did with this book to differentiate it is I talk about the 4 focus factors, all right, for more wealth and happiness. And so, and Gina, of course, you've been reading my book, you know what those are. But so very briefly, I'm talking about time, energy, relationships, and money. Those are the 4 focus factors. If you think about what we humans want, right? What do we want? This is what every book I've ever written. What do we want? Humans, right? We want. Right? We want. Well, I mean, it says it right there. More wealth and happiness. No duh, right? No duh. Right? But see, like I said, most of the stuff that's out there is just very surfacey, very like you can do it, set your goals. No kidding, right? I hate that, right? And everybody hates it. I mean, we've heard it a million times. So
doing it for so long.
Underneath that. So I remember I told you I'm Sheldon Cooper. I'm the nerd, right? So I got to get underneath to the molecular level of what the heck is going on down there, not up here, down here at the causal level. Thomas Jefferson said many years ago, he said, for every 99 who are hacking away at the leaves of truth, there's 1 striking at the root. I love that quote. So
Wow.
I happen to be that one, you know.
Wow.
But anyways,
I really like that.
thank you. And so, yeah, so I mean,
It's pretty deep.
when you read my book, I mean, I'm not saying you have to read all my books. I'm just saying if you were to start,
You
you'll
can
notice
order them
that
all
every
and
one of them has a very specific focus. To like I said, the power habits of unconsciously successful people. Boom, I give you those. 7-figure life, how to leverage those 4 focus factors. 7-figure machine, your ultimate roadmap to endless earnings and financial freedom. So, a lot of people read these together. You can see they go together, right? And so on and so on. So I hope that answered your question, Mama D.
Yeah, it does. Now I'm gonna have to go retail therapy shopping. It's like, dude,
And I'll tell you what, too, they're not difficult to read. You're not using words that people have to look up. All right, this is you speaking just like this.
Yeah.
In here, right?
Yes.
And these chapters are not long.
Right.
You have a little circle over here.
Yep.
That's got like, okay, well, this is what's going to be happening here, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
so it's like you can kind of skim, like
Yes.
even if you want to, this is how to join our affiliate program for free is one of these little things on there.
Exactly.
Go there and go to www.noahstjohn.com/JV. Find out, right? But it's like all your affirmations, all of your points. There was something I wanted to get to here. What did I say? Oh, I didn't know what this was. All right, and this was funny. The AFO and the HSBO.
Yes.
There's like, do you want to be an ASO or an HB?
No. Well,
Like,
I don't mean to correct you. Sorry, but that's one of my signature things. So it's an AFOS or a HSBO. AFOS or HSBO. Okay. So the point is, you don't want to be an AFOS and you want to be a HSBO.
Right.
So you're like, well, what are you talking about, Noah? Aha, this is me dangling the carrot. So you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right away. So anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right, Gina. So the AFOS, this is what most entrepreneurs, business owners are. They are acting like an AFOS. And what does that stand for? It stands for average, frustrated, opportunity seeker. Average, frustrated, opportunity seeker. You're acting like an AFOS.
Okay. Because I'm like, what is this now? And then when I read what they meant, I'm like, oh my God. Hilarious.
Right. I show you, what are the symptoms of AFOSness. And everybody goes like, oh,
there's a
shoot,
lot.
I'm doing all those.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's like, no, we want to be the, how do you say it?
A HSBO. You want to be a HSBO.
Yeah. And what does that stand for?
What does that mean? It stands for highly successful business owner. And you could also say highly strategic business owner, HSBO, HSBO, right? Highly successful, highly strategic business owner, right? So think about the difference. And I can just very, briefly give, but yeah, you definitely want to read that in the book. But, what are AFOSs doing? Well, a typical AFOS, remember, average frustrated opportunity seeker. What does that mean? It means shiny object syndrome, bottom line. Right. So I've been doing this a long, long time. Actually, one of my clients pointed out, Noah, did you realize that you've been doing this over 4 decades? The 90s, the aughts, the 10s, and now the 20s. I'm like, thanks for making me feel old. Yes, I got this.
Way to go.
But, hey, that stands for longevity, right? That means what I'm doing works, right? It's like, hello, because we've seen a lot come and go over the years. But that's what I mean.
Let's say I think you got it down.
Right, exactly. And so the point is, as someone who has been doing this over 4 decades, yeah, I have seen a lot of things come and go. I mean, good God, I remember MySpace, back in the day, a million years ago. And, even just a few years ago, remember Clubhouse? Clubhouse, that was like the biggest. It was like nothing. It went like this and then nothing again. It's like, how about Threads? Threads was like everywhere and nowhere in 10 minutes. I don't even think we have 15 minutes of fame yet. I think we're down to 10 minutes,
Yeah.
So the point is that's what his AFOSs are doing. They're chasing every little gimmick, every little fad. And you're never, ever, ever going to win if you do that, right? Yeah. That's just one example. Okay. So what does a HSBO do is you got to pick one strategy. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting not to pivot. All right. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because let's just, use a very easy, simple example that we all know. The pandemic that just happened. I mean, now it happened a few years ago. It doesn't just happen, but you know what I'm saying. Relatively speaking, it wasn't that long ago, right? So, a lot of my colleagues in this industry, their entire thing was live events. Get them into live events. Well, guess what? boom, gone overnight.
No more live events. Yep.
Gone. And what do I do? Right. So what did we have to do? We had to pivot, right? We had to pivot to virtual, right? And then what did they find out? They're like, oh my God, this is way more profitable. This is awesome.
I can reach the whole world.
Right. No hotel, no hotel expense, no travel expense, no food expense. I'm literally here, at home. I got a camera, I got a thing, or if you get a studio, whatever. It's like, hello. So that's a difference, still a difference between being an AFOS and a HISBO. That's what I just talked about is a HIS bonus because, okay, I was doing live events in this example. Okay, that was taken away from me through no fault of my own, a freaking global pandemic. I mean, nobody planned that, right? Yeah. So, but, myself and, many of my colleagues, we didn't panic. We said, well, okay, well, what do we do? Well, now the world is virtual and oh my gosh, it opened up an entire new world. Do you see how that's different from being an AFOS, right? From just chasing.
Well, and then they'll be gloom and doom about it too and not do anything about it. Right. So I mean.
Exactly. And I mean, I always tell my clients, all right, whether it's one-on-one, like Charles, like Adam, these examples I've given you, or my group coaching clients. I have a program called the 12-Week Breakthrough, where I help people make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while actually winning their lives back, exactly what we've been talking about. Okay. And I will say to them, listen, I would rather you fail faster than just sit there and think about it, right? I want you to fail faster. And I always tell people, look, 90% of the stuff that I put out over the years have failed.
Yeah, they won't come up unless they hit rock bottom.
Well, the point is that many AFOSs, let's face it, are waiting for everything to be perfect. When is everything perfect? Never.
Never.
We know it's never, right? But they're waiting because they're afraid to fail. I say, guys, I have failed 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of the 10 things that I've tried over the years, and I've tried everything, has failed. I'm still here. I'm doing okay. It's not so bad. Right. I would rather you just do it and fail faster. And that's how you learn. And that's how you grow. And that's how you pivot. And that's how you become a HISBO. Right. So that's just one simple example. But I'll give you actually a great example from my 12-week breakthrough program. I am teaching exactly what I'm saying right now, and the teaching my power habits and so forth. Well, there's one of my clients, a business owner named Catherine from Pennsylvania. She decided to join my 12-week breakthrough program, and she was kind of at a crossroads, and things weren't going so great. She was doing okay, but just feeling pretty frustrated, and pandemic and like that. And so I was teaching her all this, like I do. I mean, doing my thing, right? Well, in week 5 of the 12-week program, she sent me an email. She said, Noah, I just want you to know that I raised $185,000 today in one day because of what you taught me. $185,000 in one day. And this is the best part. She said, because you believed in me, now I believe in me again.
That is really, I was going to say, that is like the most powerful thing that you can put out there, to have that belief in yourself, and I know for a fact, being the business owner, but I was like in construction too. So I had to tell men what to do in the construction industry. You know what I mean? But because I know what I'm talking about and I have the authority behind me and I believe in what I'm telling you, that you will believe what I tell you. Because if you don't, there's the door.
There's the door.
So, I mean, there's another plumber right around the corner. I don't need you. What I mean? So, okay, exactly. Right? See ya. But I mean, but it's that mindset, and I honestly, I don't think everybody has it. Some people are meant to be like line workers, but you need them. And some people are meant to be the bosses, but it doesn't mean that you can't run a good, successful business, that's not, way up there. You don't have to run, Chrysler, right? You can run something else, you can do you. But how important is it to love what you do, though?
Well, I think it's very important. And the reason for that is because of what I just talked about, which is failure. I mean, it's just many people today have a very strange view of success and failure. And one of the reasons for that is, the marketers, the gurus out there. As my good friend Gary Vaynerchuk always says, marketers ruin everything.
I know.
And they really do. They ruin everything. And so one of the things that marketers do is they say it's easy. Oh, it's easy. Just find your passion, follow your passion, and you'll never work a day in your life. I'm like, what planet are you on, dude? I mean,
It's
no,
a lot of work.
absolutely not how it works. You're lying. They're just lying to people. And I hate that. It makes me so angry, because people, they have a big following and people just believe them. And it's so wrong. And so the point is, because you are going to, I don't care who you are, you're going to experience failure. You're going to experience setbacks. You're going to experience things that don't work out the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do in those moments? Are you going to quit? Are you going to give up? Are you going to, pack it in? I mean, I'll give you an example from my life. I mean, I started my company, successclinic.com, in 1997 in a 300 square foot basement apartment in Hadley, Massachusetts. I had nothing. I had no money. I had like $800 to my name, total. I had, no marketing skills, no sales. I'd never run a business before. The only funnels we had back then were funnel cake. So, it was nothing. But I had just a deep burning desire to, as Steve Jobs put it, to put a dent in the universe, to really make an impact and really help people. As corny as that sounds, as cheesy as it sounds, I really wanted to help people. Right. And so I started with nothing. But I knew that I just had to do this because I had a message, right? Because I had a message that I knew would help people. I knew it. Mm-hmm. And, my first 5-6 years, I barely made any money because I didn't know what to do and I didn't know who to talk to. And there was just nobody there to help me. I had no help at all. And then all of a sudden I started to make some money. And guess what? I paid a lot of gurus a lot of money. And they gave me so much bad advice that I ended up losing $40,000. Ended up $40,000 in debt. Had to move back into my parents' house in 2007 after 10 years of hard work. Nothing to show for it. Wow. Less than nothing. Yeah. And I had to work out of my parents' basement at the age of 40. And my parents are great. And they said, son, we love you, but maybe it's time to move on, right? 10 years of hard work, got nothing to show for it. But I didn't have nothing to show for it. Yes, I lost a lot of money because I listened to those idiots out there. I listened to a lot of bad advice. But I actually didn't have nothing to show for it. I had a lot of people whose lives that I changed, because of the work that I've been doing. So I had a lot of case studies, a lot of success stories, a lot of testimonials. So I'm like, I know I'm doing something right. I know what I have is right. I'm just doing it wrong, the business part, right? Because, of course, I took a lot of bad advice. Mm-hmm. So I said, I've got to do something different. And that's when I actually found my first real mentor, right? Someone who actually not only, and this is the key, not only was successful himself, but more importantly, had helped others succeed. See, that's the thing that's missing today in the guru space. What we see in the guru space is what I call personality-driven success. Personality-driven success is exactly what it sounds like, right? It's driven by their personality. Hey, look at my yacht, look at my helicopter, look at my jet. Nothing wrong with those things. They're perfectly fine. We all want nice things. Yeah. But my question is, that's great for you, buddy. Have you helped anyone else? Have you helped anyone else make money?
Right.
And
it's like there'll be one book. Yeah. There'll be one method.
Right.
And you have many.
Well, there's an old saying, to he who's good with a hammer, all the world is a nail. So they have a thing and it worked for them. Well, that's great. What if I don't have that thing? And most people just don't. So what I do that's different is system-driven success, right? That's how do you know it's a system? Because it's about way more than me. That's why when you go to coachingwithnoah.com or breakthroughwithnoah.com, what you'll see is hundreds of case studies, hundreds, literally, of my clients. That's how you know it's a system. It's not about Noah St. John. Yes, I'm the guy teaching. I'm the guy coaching. I'm the guy writing the books. Great. But if it only worked for one person, you don't have a system. You have a personality. That's a no good. That's my Sicilian grandfather would say. That's a no good.
I was going to say that.
That's a no good.
That's a no good.
That's a no good.
I can relate. Right? I grew up in Massachusetts with a big Italian family.
Exactly. Well, that's actually where my grandparents were too, in Massachusetts. So there you go. Anyway, so that's it. No, I'm going to say that's at the point. That's at the point. That's a nice.
Aspetta un momento. Get to the point.
Exactly. All right. So, all right. Anyway, I hope that made the point.
It did make the point. It did make the point. We are already almost running out of our time
about
here.
50
Oh, wow.
So
minutes
let's
ish.
see. All right. Well, these questions just aren't. All right, none of those questions.
We've pretty much answered all of the questions that without asking.
Yeah, I
questions.
know. I'm making sure that I don't miss something here that's on these questions.
Okay, number 4.
The number 4 here, the mindset shift.
Yeah.
Thing here. What is the one mindset shift needed to start thinking like a successful online entrepreneur?
Right. Absolutely. Well, that goes along exactly with what I was just talking about, right? About fail faster. And it
Yeah.
really comes down to 3 words that, I teach my clients over and over and over again, and that I have tried to live by. And that is money loves speed. Money loves speed. And you could say success loves speed if you aren't comfortable saying money loves speed, but success, money, however you measure it, success loves speed. What does that mean? Exactly what I was just talking about, right? That is the mindset shift. The AFOS, right? Average frustrated opportunity seeker is waiting for everything to be perfect. They're waiting for the next shiny object. They're waiting for the thing that's going to be, the quick hit, the quick fix. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. There is nothing. Remember, marketers ruin everything. All those guys telling you that stuff are lying. Sorry, they're lying. That's their job. Their job is to lie to get you to buy stuff.
We go through phases of these different types of people. Like, all right, when we were younger, there were no life coaches. There were no coaching things. When people first came out coaching, like my friend that she was my best friend, all through my life. And, and she goes to Harvard. Her whole family goes Harvard, Yale, all these things, all lawyers, every one of them, except for her, because she's my friend, of course. Right. But she goes there. And then I don't see her for a little while. And I said, well, what are you doing? And she's in Boston. She goes, I'm a life coach. I'm like, you're a what? Right. And then she promptly told me what a life coach was. And I'm just like, is this a new thing? Because I've never heard of this, And so that was like kind of around when that change, like our mindsets change, and we need, when businesses change, our mindsets change, we need different help, and with the half virtual businesses, the online community, now we have access to everyone in the world. We need that help. That it's overwhelming. It is. And then when you're trying to actually do your work and do your job and do your things, you don't have time to be, trying to figure all this stuff out. So to have someone say, hey, this is all you got to do. You just follow these 4 steps right here, these 4 principles, these 7, and then it's like, and everything will fall right into place.
Yeah, it's true. And, I love what you just said there, Gina. And, this is something I've been talking about for many years now, is that we don't live in the information age. We live in the information overload age.
Right.
Yeah.
We passed the information age 20 miles back. Okay. Yep. We're all on overload, everybody. Okay. And, when I'm doing my keynote speeches, my seminars around the country, around the world, I'll often ask my audience members, how many people think the pace of change is going to decrease anytime soon? And of course, no hands go up. And I go, how many think it's going to increase? And of course, every hand goes up, right? No kidding. It's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. It's not, we can't put Pandora back in the box. Okay. So it is only going to get worse. So what does that mean? In fact, it's funny because one of the main things that I'm helping my clients with right now, both in one-on-one and in group coaching, is just simply focus. Literally focus. One of the big things that people, when they write to me, that when they go to breakthroughwithnoah.com and, book a breakthrough call, is they'll say, Noah, I have so much to do and I don't know what I should do.
Right.
Here's all these things I could do, but what should I do? Right. And that's really hard in and of itself, because what happens with humans is we have decision fatigue, right? Decision fatigue is exactly what it sounds like. So, and I'm sure we all experience this, probably everybody listening to this program, on a daily basis. Right? You wake up in the morning and you're like, and you're already going through your laundry list and your to-do list. There's 1,000,000 miles long. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And if you don't write it down, you're going to forget something.
Right. But see, we're always being asked to make decisions, almost every moment, every minute. Are you going to watch this video, or are you going to read that article? Are you going to write this person, or are you going to call that person? And so there's thousands of decisions that we make every day. And what happens is we just very simply get fatigue, decision fatigue, right? So it's very important. So one of the things I help people with, like, is their morning routine, right? And, I think for most people, they find that their focus is better in the morning. And then they notice that it tends to, don't go down over as the day goes on. Right?
Around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we need to take a little power nap.
Exactly. Because of all these decisions that we've been forced to make. So your brain's like, I'm tired, dude. Come on, man.
Let's go.
Exactly. So, I always say, to my clients, and also, just on interviews, I say, look, my favorite flex, flex, like, showing off, like I don't show my car and my whatever, but my favorite flex is turning off my computer at 5 o'clock every day, and just taking a walk in nature with my wife, or we have a koi pond in the backyard, just,
nice.
Looking at the fish and, seeing the birds and everything. And I'm like, that's a flex for me, is because I want a life, and I know
this is a good flex for you.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm just saying, I know I'm not different than anybody. I know we all want that, right? We all want what I talked about a moment ago, right? What I talked about in the seven-figure life: the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money. We all want those things, but really, we haven't been given very good information about how to do that. How do we actually have the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money that we want, other than this very surface level stuff?
Clear the clutter out of the brain. Get rid of all the things you don't need. All those types of things, and you do it. You go through all of them. Yes. So I mean, you're it. You're it. You're the answer for what we need currently.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you just open it up by telling people, what would be the morning routine that you would recommend for people to start with?
Well, I definitely think that one of the most important things you can do in the morning is gratitude. Right? I talk about that a lot. And, gratitude is the parent of all virtues. That's the old saying, right? Gratitude is the parent of all virtues. I totally agree with that. Because think about this. What you focus on grows, right? We all know that. What you focus on grows. So what most people are doing is focusing on what they don't have.
Yep.
Right? Oh, I don't have enough money. And, well, actually, isn't it interesting? It's those 4 things that I just said. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I don't have the right relationships. And I don't have enough money. I just said that. Right? I wonder why I wrote all these books on the subject. Right? So that's what most people do. The first thing they think of, oh, I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, guess what? When you focus on what you don't have, what do you get? More of the experience of not having.
Right.
Right? But
the dark cloud that comes in, and
exactly. So that's one of the reasons I share that. When I lost everything and I was $40,000 in debt at age 40 and had to move back in with my parents, and I mean, I had nothing, but I didn't have nothing. And so this is what I started to do. I started to focus on what I have, and I had already written several books by then, not as many as I have now, of course, but I'd already written several books. I'd helped a lot of people. And I'm like, well, Noah, I've got 10 fingers. I've got 10 toes. I've got eyes that see. I've got ears that hear. I've got a laptop computer. I've got the internet. I've got a phone. You see, I have a lot of things that a lot of people don't have. So, and that's what I really, really, and that's, and of course, finding that mentor was very important for me. Now I get to mentor people. But, that's what really was one of the biggest things that helped me to get out of that very, very low period in my life. So, when people come to me and they're, they may be stuck or struggling, and I'm like, I've been there, and probably most people listening to this program have not decided to commit suicide, which I did, have not lost everything at age 40, or maybe you have. My point is that, I'm not coming with a silver spoon in my mouth, not having gone through these struggles, these, these pains and this frustration. I've been there, and, I've been able to get out of it. But I will say it would have been a lot faster if I would have had someone help me, and I really, really didn't. I really had to essentially figure it out on my own, which sucks. That takes way longer to do it on your own. So
it does. That was my whole life. I mean, honest to God, I could have used someone just like you. I could have used you while I had my business going. It would have probably done a lot better. But I wore every hat, Yes. And it's like, and now I don't work anymore. Well, since I don't work, I work more actually. But this is the way that we put out our thing that we do for people, bringing you to the people. That's what our input,
Wonderful.
So,
Well, I'm thrilled to be here.
but
We'll
anyway,
have to do it. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would love to, because you are hilarious. You
Oh,
are
thank you.
hilarious, and I think we should get that other book and then talk about that one. And then maybe I'll get
We've got a lot of books to talk about, so let's do it.
I just was
We
thinking,
can do
if
a lot
we
of-
had all the books delivered at one time, my mail lady would kill me. Darlene.
Yeah, definitely dole it out a little bit.
Yeah.
right. Because I'll read. I love reading books.
She's read every book on her shelf.
Yeah, all
Wow,
these shelves
awesome.
in the library downstairs.
Wonderful.
So I do
Wow.
read at least a book a week, if not more. So I do always
Right.
know what I'm talking about when I talk to them.
Now you'll have to have a Noah St. John section there. Just have a whole section.
I do have different sections for different authors. I have Darian Relatives over there, and I do. When they're all filled up, I make a special section. I put little things on the ends and everything. I make
Noah's going to be right
because I was an interior designer, so I'll make them.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, if you go to noahstjohn.com/books, so if you go to my website, which you put up there a moment ago, Mama D. So if you go noahstjohn.com/books, those are my most popular books. noahstjohn.com/books.
Okay.
And
there
like
is,
I mentioned, you might want to start with Power Habits, but hey, wherever you start, I'll be thrilled.
yeah. I mean, I love this because it's
thank
like, for me, it was like, this is what I was doing, is I was reminiscing of my whole life, starting my business on my own, doing, making all the mistakes, falling down. But my dad always taught me, just stand right back up. If you want to have 2 minutes to, win, that's it. You're done. Now move on. All right. And I'm just like that. It's like that with my kids, and my kids are very successful. So hey, it works.
There you go. You got it.
But it was hard because I, like, to have help, to have things like this available now. I want people to take advantage of this.
Yes.
Don't do it the way I did it. Don't do it the way he started. You know what I mean? Because you're wasting time. You could have a lot of money in the bank. You can have a lot more time that you can do the things that you want to do and spend with loved ones. Right. So, and not only is this good for business, this is definitely good for relationships.
That's right. Absolutely. It applies to everything. Inner game and outer game applies everywhere. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. Just put whatever scenario into that formula.
Well,
And
I'm not kidding. Let's do this again. This was a heck of a lot of fun. You guys are awesome.
Definitely.
Let's do it
I
again.
would absolutely love to. So thank you very much. Everybody, please, we put up all his banners, all his things.
There's a bunch of links in the chat rooms. So
Yep.
Facebook and YouTube. So go for them.
Yes. So please look him up. If you want to hang on just for a couple minutes, we'll see y'all next week. I think we're having Karen Abrams on next week. Just have a wonderful rest of your night. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.